everyone, my name's Katie Robertson and I'm the founder and director for the Anchor Gathering, and I want to officially welcome you to the Anchor at Home, the first one of the new year. We are so glad you're tuning in. If you're in a watch party with family and friends or you're on your own, we're thrilled you're with us this evening. We have a great program planned, and we thought it would be fun for this first one to broadcast from our Anchor at Home newsroom. We wanted to bring your attention to our Anchor logo because we think it goes well with sharing the news. But if you want to look just closely, there's three things that stand out that are really cool details. First of all, there's the woman symbol, and that's what the Anchor's all about. Gathering women together of all ages and background. Secondly, there's that anchor swoosh, so thus the anchor woman. And when I hear that word, I think sharing the news, and that's what we're all about, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. And the third detail, which I think really is the most important, and you got to get your eyes looking at it, you'll see there's the cross. And that is really the news we bring, that Jesus Christ died for each one of us on the cross and brings forgiveness, love, grace, joy, and relationship for each one of us. So we are so thrilled you're with us tonight. We're dreaming big. We want to share this good news with women everywhere, and we'd love your help if you could come on board. There's a few ways you could do this. First of all, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you could share this link with anyone near and far that needs to hear the hope of Jesus. And thirdly, we'd love for you to consider being a watch party host. And you can go to our website, theanchorgathering.com, to find out more. Speaking of watch parties, we have a special news report coming all the way from Cle Elum, Washington, where we will be hearing from one of our watch party hosts, Carla Vale. She will be reporting from her home and taking us inside, behind the scenes, what really goes on with a watch party and more. So let's take it now live to Carla Vale.
Hey Katie, this is Carla coming to you from the Cle Elum Anchor, and I would like to introduce you to a couple friends of mine. They're here to watch our Anchor tonight. So I would like you to meet Marianne and Georgianne and Linda. What do you like about coming to the Anchor?
Well, I like being blessed every time that I come, but I also laugh a lot. So it's just, you just leave feeling joyful and lots of camaraderie. Georgianne?
Well, the food, of course, wine. No, it's just so fun to be here. Carla is such a hostess, and just I think the sincere and authentic fellowship, just the good questions, and of course the videos just inspire us to get to know one another better. So it's really a special time.
And I would have to agree, the fellowship with the women, like-minded women, and just sharing Jesus, and the food, and Carla's a great host. So
Did you notice I got that part about the hosting in there? Made them say that. Hey, back to you in the studio, Katie.
Thank you, Carla. That was great. And now we're going to take a look at some footage for some other watch parties.
I think that it really works, that people get to be together, they get to hear speakers speak from their heart and their life experience, and then they get to talk together and get to know one another. So I think the whole package works really well for all of us, that we get this lovely night, one night a month, to be together and to delve a little deeper into the matters of the faith.
Well, Marilyn, I think it's wonderful. I think what I love most about it is that it's so honest. We are often in social situations, most always, where people feel like they have to impress you with how great their lives are and how successful they are and how everything is wonderful. But when you come to the Anchor, people are real and they are supportive, and they reach out to each other and share what their issues are and help each other through them. So that's what makes it so special to me.
I love coming to the watch parties because I like the fellowship with all the ladies. Every time I come, I meet new people, and they're so friendly. And I just love sharing the word of Jesus. And I know there's people that, I just learn new things, and I know that there's people out there that need Jesus, and we need to be ready to help them. Just reach out to them when they need to find somebody to love them.
Well, at this time in the Anchor, we like to start with music. And tonight I am so honored to introduce you to one of our very favorite groups for King and Country, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, comprised of Luke and Joel Smallbone. They are one of the top contemporary Christian groups, and I like to always share because it's so impressive. They've got over 1 billion streams. They are sharing the good news of Jesus to the world. So we are so privileged to get to have them share a song with us tonight. So let's hear now from For King and Country.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, we usually have a gospel choir on this song. It's a simple 3-letter word, joy. So if you are prone to singing or not, why don't you go ahead and sing along, because we have no gospel choir here. Here we go. 1, 2.
Lately I've been real, watching the nightly news. Can't seem to find the rhythm, just wanna sing the blues. Feels like a song that never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So will somebody please pass the megaphone? I'll shout it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hear my prayer tonight. I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, hear my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice, and I choose joy. Let it move you, let it move, let it move, let me hear you. Yeah, I choose joy. Let it move you, let it move, let it move you. Yeah, back when I was younger, my eyes were full of light. But now that I am older, I live at the speed of light. Feels like the cycle never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So will somebody please pass the megaphone? I'll shout it on the count of 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, hear my prayer tonight. I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice, let me testify. Oh, hear my prayer tonight, 'cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice, and I choose joy. Let it move you, let it move, let it move you. Come on. Yeah, I choose joy. Let it move you, let it move, let it move you. Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of night, though it's still by my side, I'm stepping into the light. I choose joy. Let it move you, let it move, let it move you. I need the joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. I need the joy down in my heart, down in my heart.
If you believe it, sing it out.
I need the joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. I need the joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. Yeah.
All right, so this is the part where we want to see some moving. We want to see some grooving. You got it, man? Yeah. All right, I want to see some moving and grooving by you, man.
Yeah, I choose joy. Oh, so let it move you. You let it move. Oh, let it move you. Yeah, I choose. Let it move you. Oh, let it move. Yeah, let it move you. Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of night, though it's still by my side, I'm stepping into the light. I choose joy. Let it move you. Let it move. Let it move you. I need the joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. I need the joy down in my heart, down in my heart to stay.
Thank you, Luke and Joel. That was awesome. I just can't get over the lyrics are so perfect for the new year. We have a word for the year. We can choose joy. So thank you again. Well, we get to hear the anchor moment now, and the anchor moment is a time we get to hear from a guest a little bit about their life and a little bit about their faith journey and about an anchor moment. And an anchor moment is a time where your faith has been grounded, you've really seen Jesus to be real in your life. He's been your anchor. So tonight we are so privileged. We get to have Loren Callahan with us. Welcome, Loren.
Thank you.
And I'd like to share just a couple things about Loren before we get started. Loren she has newly started working for the Anchor Gathering. She as our program coordinator, and she helps with a lot of the details, helping this whole ministry run very smooth. There's lots of things going. And she also, her main job that she's been so helpful with is our leader care and our watch party hosts. And that involves recruiting and training and caring for our leaders. And she does an amazing job. She is truly a gift to have. So
thanks.
With that, Loren, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I went to the University of Washington, and I have been married to Drake for 26 years. We've got one son, Adam. He's a senior at Whitworth in Spokane, and our daughter, Anna, is a junior at Skyline High School in Sammamish. And both our kids run cross country, so many weekends we can be found outside watching our kids run.
Well, speaking of running, we want to hear a little bit. I know a fact about your daughter. Would you tell us a little bit about what has just happened this year for her daughter? It's amazing, everybody.
Well, so Anna has always run track, and then last year she decided to run cross country as well, and she blew us away this season. She came in first, the Washington State champion, and then she went on to run regionals in Boise, which is 7 states competing, and came in first there, which qualified her for Nike Nationals in Portland. And she came in 9th. So she was the 9th runner in the nation, and she earned an All-American title. So we are still pinching ourselves. It's been really exciting.
I think that is incredible. I have a running background, and that is the dream. Your daughter, amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, well, back on track now. So tell us a little bit about your faith journey.
Well, I was lucky enough to be raised in a Christian home, and I remember accepting Jesus in my basement with my mom and sister when I was 5 years old. And from that time, I grew up going to Seattle First Covenant Church, this huge, old, beautiful building in Seattle, and we'd play hide and seek and have a lot of fun there. And as I was in high school, I became involved with Young Life, and I remember being at Malibu in Canada, the Young Life camp, and having this huge aha moment, like, oh, it's only about a relationship with Jesus. It doesn't matter. That's all that is important. So, yeah.
And so now, how about that anchor moment? I'm sure you have a lot, but I'm excited to hear which one you've chosen for tonight.
Thanks. Well, the one I want to share with you today is my journey of jobs. So I graduated from the University of Washington with a degree in speech communication, and that year no one was hiring. So I worked for my dad in our family photography business for a bit, but through family connections and kind of working my way up, I ended up working for Kodak as the national account manager for 10 years. And I loved my job. It was so perfect for me. But as I had our first child, I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But financially, that was not in the cards for me at the time. And I asked to go part-time, and they said nope. So I was working full-time until Adam was 3, and then I got laid off. So that was actually a blessing, as I got to be a stay-at-home mom then, and I got to attend MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers, and I got to go to Bible study, and I got, start a Moms in Prayer group once we also had a second child, and Anna started kindergarten. So that was a really sweet time of my life, and I'm glad I got to not have to juggle both work and parenting at the same time. I feel super blessed for that.
Yes.
Fast forward to fall of 2020, I started searching for jobs, and there were none that felt just right. And so I interview after interview. So remember, you used to have the anchor in person.
Yes.
And then I always wanted to go, but I had never made it. And then the pandemic happened, and then the Anchor became the Anchor at Home, which was really the perfect pivot, I think. So I wanted to start hosting an Anchor at Home. And I happened to hear that the Anchor was also hiring for an executive assistant position. So I applied, and I remember it was the first time I think it was the first time I'd actually met you, and we hit it off. Like, oh, I had so much fun talking to Katie. We talked for like an hour and a half, what was supposed to be a 45-minute interview, and we had the UW in common and Young Life, and then so I thought, oh, I got it. I got the job. And I was actually like celebrating and doing it in my head. But the Lord led Katie in a different direction, which will make sense in a few minutes here. And so I found out I didn't get the job, and I was really, really sad. I shed some tears about it. And then the ultimate blow was like 2 weeks later, I applied to be a Starbucks barista, and I didn't get that job either.
Well,
My only saving grace was the manager said, perhaps you would be a better fit at our corporate office. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you for thinking that. So
that's a good thing.
I know. And so during that period of time, our youth pastor and his wife had a baby. In June, the little guy got dedicated at church. And I happened to be sitting a few rows behind the family. And I remember his little face looking over a grandparent's shoulder at me, and it was as if the Lord came down and said, you're gonna watch him. And so starting in August that year, I got to watch baby Trey for 2 days a week, and it was so much fun. Like, I loved it. I was a blessing to them, and they were a blessing to me. That's what God had for me at that time. 2022 approached. I always pick a word for the year. And you had said earlier, joy. Well, I had had joy, I'd had perspective. So what was it gonna be for 2022? And I had this one word cut out of a magazine, resilient. I'm like, who wants to be resilient? No way. That means something hard happened. And so I couldn't decide. And I was talking to my friend Bridget on the phone, and she said, Loren, you have to do the word of the year generator. And I'm like, what? So she tells me about this word of the year generator. I was in my car, so I go home. On the front porch is a package from Katie, and it's my Anchor sweatshirt, my pink Anchor sweatshirt that I had won at the December leaders meeting, and I was so excited. So put that on, and then I go to my computer, and I'm gonna do my word of the year, and it doesn't ask you anything. It just like spits out a word. It doesn't, no leading questions, not anything else. So I do it, and the word Anchor appears across my screen, and I cannot even believe it. And then spring came, and Trey's parents said that the mom was gonna stay home with him, which was perfect. It was perfect for me to move on to something else. And I was asked at that time, hey, could you help plan the Anchor retreat? So I was on the committee with Katie to plan the retreat, and I was really excited about that. That's something that I love to do. And then in August, Katie said, we are hiring for a program coordinator position. Would you consider doing that? And so I was praying about that, and I didn't want to take it lightly. I remember showing my sister the job description, and she read it, and she just looked up at me and she said, Loren, this is perfect for you. It's just so neat to me how God had a better plan for me. He had the perfect role for me. His timing was better. He knew the better plan. And as a result, I get to be a part of this Anchor community. And honestly, it is such a blessing to me. And one of my Anchor guests after the November Anchor sent me a text and just said, I love how you hold space for women. And she said, your biography would say that you are a person who values relationships and has the gift of hospitality to invite people. XOXO. And I just hold on to that because I do think that's what this community brings to me, is I do have this hope as an anchor for my soul, Jesus, firm and secure. And he knows exactly what we need and how we can be encouraged by one another as we go through life.
I just have to say a word to that sweatshirt. The day Loren texted me a picture of the sweatshirt and her word of the year, and I was pretty blown away. I'm like, wow, because you all have to know, I I wanted Loren on board from the beginning. We just didn't know how to get it all there. And the timing, like you said, is so perfect. And she is just the perfect fit for what we've got going. Just a great message and reminder to all of us that God's got the perfect plan for each one of us. Our job is to trust Him with the plan. So, Loren, thank you again so much for joining me and just for being a part of the Anchor. I'm excited for what God has in store. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Well, at this time we have our drawing, and tonight we have 2 items. The first item is our navy blue glassy baby, and it's named Forever, which I think is a very cool name because that's a promise we have when we know Jesus. We get to live with Him forever in heaven. So this is our first one, and then our second item is this navy blue t-shirt. Nice, classy, and simple with our logo on there. And you've got 3 ways to sign up. First, you can go to the QR code, ask your watch party host. She will have that information. It's in the watch party kit. You can also go to the description box on our YouTube channel, sign in there, or go to the website, theanchorgathering.com. And we hope you all get your names in there. You've got until 9 o'clock tonight, and we will announce the winner first thing tomorrow. I now have the privilege of introducing you to our main speaker for this evening, and her name is Ann McNeil. And Ann and I go way back. We used to lead Young Life together many, many years ago in Snohomish, Washington. And now Ann is a former teacher, elementary school and middle school, and she has made a big move. She moved to Arizona with her husband recently and is going after a new passion, real estate and conference planning. And we are just so excited to hear from her. She now lives in Arizona, has her 3 children. You're going to hear more about that. And so let's hear now from Ann McNeil.
Hi, my name is Ann McNeil. I'd love to take a moment to just introduce myself. I think you'll see some pictures of my family. First of all, I was born and raised in Snohomish, Washington. I went to Washington State University where I met my husband, Blaine. Together we have 3 children, Emma, Jenna, and Jake. Emily is married to Mark, and you'll see in that picture she just had a wedding in April, which we were just thrilled to welcome Mark into our family. Emma's a teacher in Everett, and her husband Mark works for Amazon. Jenna is just graduated from WSU, Washington State University, 2 years ago. She's now a resident director at Grand Canyon University. Jake, he is a senior at Grand Canyon University, and he is marketing and sports management. So Blaine and I are empty nesters, and we have been for 2 years. So I retired after 29 years of teaching. We packed up, we moved to Arizona where we are loving life. We golf, we play pickleball, we love to go on walks. And then that is our sweet dog, Hudson. He's our only child that lives with us, and we are in love. As I said, I was a teacher for 29 years, and I was a leadership teacher for a portion of that. And that's kind of where my story begins. I'm going to start by having some numbers go up on the screen. Now here's your job. You have, well, I usually give my students about 1.5 minutes. I'm not sure how long you'll get, maybe 45 seconds. We'll see how long I talk today. But you're gonna go from 1 in order, then find 2, 3, 4, all the way to 54. Okay, are you ready? Go. Okay, I have a feeling you didn't do all that well. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard because they seem to be all out of order, and there's different fonts, and where in the world is that number 8? That's what a lot of people said. And when I show this again, you'll laugh when you see the number 8. But I see it a different way. I actually see it in order. Okay, here are the numbers in order. Look at the quadrants, right? There's a 1 in the top, and in the middle there's 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go back up to the top and you'll see that 10, and you can go through. You see how you see it differently? The first way you saw it was your paradigm. You saw it one way. A paradigm shift is a change in the way you see things. All right, let's just try it one more time for fun, and we'll give you just a little bit of time, and let's see if you can just see those numbers. Are you ready? Go. Let me tell you a story about a paradigm shift that I had. I taught for 19 years in elementary, and I loved those kids. They're just so precious, right? And then all of a sudden, I had this crazy idea to go to middle school. And after my first year of teaching, my principal said, "Hey, Ann, would you take a leadership class next year?" And I thought, oh, awesome. Probably really easy kids. They are probably already leaders. This is going to be great. And if I don't have anything to do, let's make some posters and, be school spirity. That's what I thought until the first day of school. The kids came in. It was before the bell rang. They got there like 15 minutes early, and I just saw all these great kids, and they were talking and enjoying each other, and you could tell they knew each other. And then I noticed there was a kid standing at the doorway. And I walked over and I said, "Hi, my name's Mrs. McNeil. Welcome. Are you in this class?" And he said, "Yeah, but I don't belong in there." And I said, "Well, are you on the schedule?" And sure enough, Mrs. McNeil, first period. I said, "Come on in." He goes, "No, those are the popular kids and I'm not one of them." And so I took a breath, and I don't even like the word popular. Like, what does that mean? But I said, "Okay, can you give me a week? Let's just give this class 1 week." So that night I went home and thought, oh my goodness, I need to come up with a great lesson tomorrow. And so he talked popular. So I thought, that's labels, right? We're labeling people. So the next day, the kids were in groups of 4, and I laid a piece of paper in front of them, and I said, "Hey, this is the lunchroom. Where do people sit?" And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, who sits at this table and who sits at this table?" And so they kind of started going, and they would write, "Oh yeah, the athletes kind of sit here, and the kids that are like into Pokemon, they sit here." Pokemon was a big thing back then. "Oh, the kids over here, they're the troublemakers." And then they went, "Oh, Miss McNeil, this doesn't feel good." And I'm like, "You're right, we're labeling, aren't we?" And so then what I did is I took all those labels and I made headbands and I put them on half the class, and I said, "Hey, everyone up, I want us to walk around and just treat them how you see people in our school treating them." And at the end of that, I brought all of the kids with the labels up to the front. And that one boy that was standing at the door, I said, "Hey, bud, what do you think you were?" And he literally did this. He stepped out of line. He goes, "I don't know, but it was awesome." And he stepped back. And I went down the aisle, and then I got to our ASB president, and I said, "Hey, buddy, what do you think you were?" And he said, "I don't know, Miss McNeil, but it was horrible." I kid you not. The kid at the beginning said, "Yeah, that's how I feel every day." It was loner. And right then I noticed, or I realized, paradigm shift. This isn't going to be an easy class. This is probably the most important class I'll ever teach. By making kids see others' stories and understand who they are. And so I got obsessed with leadership. Servant leadership, actually, because that's what they were teaching at the high school, and it had changed my daughter's life. So I read book after book. I listened to podcasts. I went to conferences. Anything about servant leadership, I couldn't get enough of. John Maxwell, he wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And his definition is this: leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, good or bad. That influence is the byproduct of developing meaningful relationships. When you think about it, oftentimes we say, "Oh, I'm not a leader. I don't like to be in front of people. My personality is just not that kind of leader type." But really, is leadership about personality? Personality, it was described to me this way. Personality is like your style. Think about shoes that you wear. Character is where you choose to walk. In James Hunter's book, Powerful Leadership Principles, we call them the 8 essentials. That's what we called them in leadership class. And they are patience, kindness, honesty, respect, selflessness, forgiveness, humility, and commitment. And I think about those words and I think, oh, those are all choice words, right? When I talk about kindness, here's an example. A student falls in the middle of a classroom or in the hallway, and the folder goes everywhere. There are really nice kids that walk around it. I'm glad they're nice. They didn't step on the papers. But kindness is intentional. Kindness are those kids that get down and say, "Let me help you. Let me lift you back up, and let's walk together to class." Knowing that kid was so horrified, that's kindness. When you think about who you're most influential person is in your life, who do you think of? I have a feeling they probably have those qualities. I bet they were patient with you and committed and selfless, respectful, kind. This is what got me like so into servant leadership. You know those 8 essentials? Let me read you this. All right. Paul wrote this letter to the people of Corinth. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And this is what it says. Love is patient. Patience. Love is kind. Kindness. It does not envy. It does not boast. It's not proud. Humility. It does not dishonor others. Respect. It is not self-seeking. Selfless. It's not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Forgiveness. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. Honesty. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Commitment. That's right. Paul, over 2,000 years ago, wrote this definition, and then Jesus was our ultimate servant leader who taught all of us that this is how we love. But isn't love confusing? You know, like I can say, oh, I love Starbucks. Oh, I love your bag. Oh, I love peanut butter chocolate ice cream. Hey, honey, I love you. Isn't that confusing? We throw love around like it's no big deal, because oftentimes love for us is a feeling. If we're not paying attention to love and agape love, then we say things like, I'll love you if I feel like it. I'll be kind if it's convenient. I'll be patient as long as you're not so irritating. I'll respect you if you've earned my respect. I'll forgive you if you say sorry first. Do you see the difference? Those are all feelings. If I feel like it, oftentimes we don't feel like it. But when it's agape love, the kind that Jesus taught us about, it's a choice. Let me just quickly tell you a story about this young man in my class, a different young man. At that point, I was teaching PE. And thankfully, I had had a little bit of servant leadership under my belt, and I was really focusing on being intentional and really showing those 8 essentials, what really is agape love. I had this 4th period class. They were amazing. And if you're a teacher, you know that when you can get a class just doing all those systems within a couple days, that's a, whoa, what a class, right? And so by Friday, we had 3 days. It was just like, wow, I can't wait till I see 4th period. And then at the end of that day, I went to my principal and said, hey, this young man is in my class list, but he hasn't been there. He says, oh yeah, he got in a fight the first day of class. He'll be there in 2 weeks. 2 weeks came, and that one class really changed. And often, I'm talking often like 2 months, there was always something that he did unsafe or unkind, and I would have to say, hey, you need to step out of the gym. I'll talk to you in a minute. And at the end of class, I would go up to him, I would shake his hand, I'd look him in the eye, and I'd say, hi, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm glad you're in my class. I didn't feel like that, but my actions showed it. Day 2, shook his hand. Hey, bud, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sure glad you're in my class. And this went on like for 2 months. And he finally like started trusting me and realizing that if he does this, he can stay in class. At the end of the year, he was kicked out of like these steady hall classes. We called them Patriot Period. And finally he was sitting in the principal's office and he said, what's it gonna take? What am I gonna do to keep you in one of these classes? And he said this, put me in Mrs. McNeil's class. She likes me. I didn't like him. I loved him. It's hard sometimes to love when you don't really like people, or like what they're doing, I should say. I'm so glad that I've had those paradigm shifts, right? That I had a young man realize that he doesn't fit in and think, oh my gosh, I have to change this, or we get to, as a class, change this. I'm glad that I had this young man that tested me and made me stronger, because I'm not just like this incredible teacher, but I know that Jesus loves me, even when I don't do something right. And when I do stupid things, which I do, he still loves me. And because of that, I want to show that to every single person that I meet. And I can end with this. Actions first, let your feelings follow. Actions of love, actions of patience, actions of kindness, of honesty, of respect, of selflessness, forgiveness, humility, commitment. If we have those actions first, let the feelings follow, I think we're going to be influencing so many people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann, for that inspiring message. A great reminder for all of us to lead and to lead with love. Ann's come up with a few questions for us that you're going to see shortly on your screen. They're going to be questions that you can go a little deeper and ponder with your watch party group or on your own. We just hope that you can reflect on the message and go a little bit deeper with that. Now, in conclusion, just want to thank you all again for joining us this evening. We want to wish you all a Happy New Year, and we'd love for you to help us get the word out there. Follow us and share us on our social media. And now that I'm in the newsroom, like I like to say, until next time, stay anchored, and we will see you soon.